Alright man, let's just get straight into it. We've got Road to UFC Episode 2. If you guys don't know what Road to UFC, it's an 8-man tournament that the UFC is going to be hosting in the 2 upcoming days to UFC 275. So the Thursday and the Friday upcoming before UFC 275 begins, we're actually holding a tournament, and it's going to be 3 rounds, 8 fighters from 4 weight classes, and the winner of each tournament is actually going to be getting themselves a UFC contract. Now, there's actually a non-tournament fight on this card, which is the Sean Edgell versus Akira Ichida. This is a fight which is like Dana White's Contender Series, where the winner is actually going to earn themselves a contract, I believe. I mean, that's what I'm assuming, is that the winner is actually going to get themselves a contract just outright, but that's not confirmed yet. We'll find out that on a later date, but for now, let's just get straight into my early kind of preview of the card, my early predictions as well. Let's just get into it. Sean Edgell versus Akira Ichida. I really do believe that Sean Edgell should get this one done. Akira Ichida, I believe he's made his amateur debut when he was like 16 years old. I mean, the guy's younger than me. He's 19 years old and 8 months old. Absolutely insane, man. But this guy's small. This guy is very small. He's fought at strawweight, men's strawweight before, and that kind of tells me that Sean Edgell should be a bit bigger than this guy. He's only 5'5" as well. He's not the biggest build. I mean, he's 19 years old. He's still kind of filling out as well, especially to the 125-pound weight class as well. I feel like Akira Ichida maybe is more so built for the strawweight, which is somewhat popular over in Asia, but nah. Now he's going to be fighting Sean Edgell, a more natural flyweight, at 125. But Sean Edgell, man, this guy has not been active whatsoever. He's fought 5 times in about 7 years. His last fight was about a year ago, but he had so many cancelled fights on the Australian regional scene. He fought Chris Wace as well, beat him. He lost to Beksod Usmanov a couple of years ago, beat a debuting guy about 5 years ago, lost to Tim Moore about 6 years ago. This guy has not been active, but he's had a lot of cancelled fights recently. I guess this is his call up to the UFC if he gets past Akira Ichida. And I do think that he should be able to beat Akira Ichida, to be fair. He's beaten a lot of guys that just aren't necessarily super high level. I mean, a 3-1 win isn't too bad, because he would have been 3-1 at the time, but I mean, he's lost to a guy with a losing record when he was 16 years old. I mean, I don't really judge that too much, but I do think that Sean Edgell should probably be able to edge out a win over Akira Ichida. I think he's going to be a lot bigger in the cage as well. I feel like maybe just have a look at the weigh-ins and kind of see the size difference. Now, this is where this kind of gets a little bit somewhat controversial. Aili Muratbek versus Poran Sinch. This fight isn't actually happening. Aili Muratbek is actually not in the tournament anymore. He had some visa issues. He's not going to be able to compete, so actually stepping in for Aili Muratbek is Jeka Espirito Sinch, who has a who has a 10-2 record, and he's got a few good wins on his record. He's lost to Anger Hans, who I think is actually on in the tournament as well, which is quite interesting. But yeah, that was in the 4th round. So we've seen this guy go for long fights. He's been to the 4th round before. Poran Sinch, I mean, he's beaten and lost to somewhat okay guys on the regional scene. I mean, that Jason Ramesh Solomon is actually the guy that got knocked out, that really viral KO. I don't know if you guys remember, but way back in the day, there was this guy that walked out, and he kind of like put his hands on like these 2 ring girls' bellies, and then he kind of walked out, and he was like staring at his opponent, like looking at him, and like just being really like kind of like aggressive, and then he got knocked out in like 6 seconds. I don't know if you guys remember that viral video, but it was quite funny. Here, I believe there was a draw to Sanbeat Kumar Dehia, and then he came back and he beat him by decision, but he's beaten this guy Jason Ramesh Solomon after losing to him, so I guess good for him, but I don't think that he's going to be able to beat Jeka Espirito Sinch. I mean, how much can you trust the Indian regional scene? Probably not a lot. I think that Jeka Espirito Saragi should get the win over Poran Sinch, but that's a little bit confusing because Tapology hasn't updated it. They haven't, maybe the guy that set it up didn't know about the visa issues, but moving on, Luque versus Rosario. Luque fought on Dana White's Contender Series, lost a unanimous decision to Erison Fahea, where it was a very close fight. I mean, some people think that Luque won, but it kind of is what it is, man. But before that, he wasn't really beating high-level guys on the regional scene, but he's only 24 years old. He's still got a lot of experience, a lot of fights to come, and he's fighting a guy with an 8-1 record in Rosario. But same sort of thing, man. He's been beating guys with not the most impressive record whatsoever. I think Luque's the more experienced guy. He had a pretty good performance against a really good opponent in Erison Fahea. I will be picking Luque to win this fight. He doesn't have the prettiest record in the world, but I think that he should be able to at least get into the 2nd round of this tournament here. Now, Janyonghong versus Koyomi Matsushima. Koyomi Matsushima, I think, is potentially a dark horse to win the entire thing. This guy's level of competition that he's been fighting recently is absolutely insane. I will be picking Koyomi Matsushima to win this fight as well. Taking place at 145 as well, so he's going to have to lose a little bit of a... He's going to have to do a bit of a weight cut because he recently fought at 155. But Janyonghong, he has actually beaten good levels of competition to his credit. 6-3, 11-4, a draw to a 6-3 guy. Same guy actually, sorry. And but yeah, no, he's been fighting pretty good levels of competition himself. But Koyomi Matsushima, my guy, has been in there with some really good fighters. Gary Tonon, I believe, is actually the one championship champion right now, or at least he fought for the belt and lost. I think he actually fought for the belt and lost, but anyway, he beat Jae-Woon Kim. He's been in there with Martin Nguyen. He's beat Won Il Kwon, Murat Gafarov. I don't know if you guys recognize Murat Gafarov, but this guy, I believe, also fought on Dana White's Contender Series somewhat recently, and he lost a split decision to no, he didn't. I'm an idiot. I'm actually a huge idiot. But this guy's been in there with great guys as well. I mean, the point is the level of competition that Koyomi Matsushima has been fighting the whole time is really high level. I like Matsushima to win the fight. I think he definitely should get past Hong in this one here. Now, Minwoo Kim versus Long Zhao. I'm very interested in this one because, man, I am surprised. I am very surprised with the Tapology votes. People are writing out my boy Long Zhao. 14% are picking Long Zhao. I mean, only 29 votes, but man, Long Zhao, I mean, he's pretty good. I think he's somewhat underrated, but you gotta look at the level of competition. Minwoo Kim in his last 5 beat a guy that was 9-7, beat a guy that was 19-8, lost to a guy that was 15-5, beat a guy 11-12, yeah, and beat a guy that was 8-2. But he hasn't fought for 2.5 years. I don't know, I need to do some research before I do my full card breakdown, obviously, but Minwoo Kim, where has he been since 2019? He's only 28 years old and he hasn't fought for about 2.5 years. That's a pretty big red flag for me, considering Long Zhao, my guy Long Zhao, only 24 years old. This guy is super active. He lost on Dana White's Contender Series over split decision, and then he bounced back only a couple months later, beat a guy that wasn't super great, and then he come back a couple of months later, beat a guy that was alright, I mean 8-4 record, but this guy fights super often, and I really do respect that. I like the fact that he's been fighting so often. He's been fighting in some custom rules fight as well, like that's more and more experience. I mean, Long Zhao is only 24 years old. Minwoo Kim hasn't fought for 2.5 years. Maybe there's something that I'm missing here, but I think that's just somewhat of a little bit of a red flag for me. So I think I'll be picking Long Zhao, and I think he's actually fighting out of the UFC Performance Institute in China as well, so that's another kind of good reason to back him. But if Long Zhao ends up being a big underdog, maybe that's a pretty good play. I don't know. I'm surprised that no one's picking Long Zhao. Maybe there's something that I'm missing here. I think there must be something huge that I'm missing here, but I will be going for Long Zhao to win that fight there.